But if you look at music, where I think, which is really, really popular, then it comes down to about 7, 8, 10 languages. Okay, there are about 18, 20 languages as such, maybe which are, like has good music. But you go down to dialects and all. But if you look at music breaking out of their own region, okay, where music breaks out of, let's say, within a state, if you speak this language in a state, and it goes outside that state, that starts going down even further. So within India, one of the biggest challenges we have is that Hindi is popular, Punjabi has become popular, now it crosses the border faster, Tamil has started crossing, Telugu has started crossing, Haryanvi has gone across that border. So I think there are languages which are now crossing borders for the first time within the states, different states. People are listening to different music. I think if that starts happening a bit more, then you will obviously see that as music travels across the border, it will see across the border outside also, outside India a bit more also. And if you look at outside India, a lot of music in the past used to be Bollywood, Hindi, but now if we have hip-hop successes, like you've seen that success from hip-hop stars like Salman Khan and so on. You've seen Punjabi as a success outside India. You've seen, iPop artists now going out there. Pratik Kohad was on an Obama playlist a few years back. So there is already music breaking out. But I think if you want to really, really do a great job of, creating that new bunch of artists as well as music, you need to kind of create music which connects with different audiences. I think that is a challenge I think we are right now trying to surpass. And if that gets done very well, I think the amalgamation of different music, and the creativity that we have in the country and mixing around things will actually create new sounds, new genres, and always strengthen a genre which will connect with the audiences around the world a bit better. And I think somewhere down the line, I think going back to it, I think there are enough artists. We need to just focus on bringing them on to create music outside of films also while films are happening. But film music is going down. I mean, let's say, it used to be 10 to 20 songs in a film, 20 years back. It came down to 5 to 6 songs a few years back. And today, a lot of films have songs which are on the background. I mean, stars are not even performing there actually. So I think a number of films have gone down a bit also. So film music will always be relevant. I think that's a superpower, we should not leave it. But we should develop another superpower, which is the artist first music, and that's where I think we all go.
Mr. Batra just spoke about superpower, and I just got reminded of what I learned yesterday. I can speak on behalf of Spotify. I heard that, I always thought that Taylor Swift was the highest followed artist. But I heard yesterday it was not Taylor Swift anymore, it is our own Arijit Singh. That is our soft power. That is what he's talking about. It is taking us places. Exports.
People are listening to Indian artists already.
Talking about the Indian artists, I think it only makes sense to speak to an incredible Indian artist out here. Assis, you performed, your songs have traveled all over the world, of course. You very recently performed at the iconic Indigo at O2 Arena in London as well. I'd love for you to share your experience about how is the experience different from when you're performing here? How are people reacting to that? Also, this is a very unique opportunity where you have a label, you have the platform, you have the government, you have an incredible global partner, everyone on the same table. I'd love for you to give everyone feedback, because everyone out here is saying that they know what's right and they know what's wrong. But as the artist, you know better than most of us. So I'd love for you to tell us what can we do to make the Indian artist journey better globally.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to be here with such esteemed guests. And speaking about performing at Indigo O2, that concert was one of my most cherished concerts, because that was my first international tour, and it went so well. If we talk about the love and energy we get while performing on stage, so it's equally same whether we're performing in India or abroad. People love our songs, people sing our songs back to us louder than us. So that is the most beautiful feeling for any artist. The only difference is when we are performing abroad. I think there are two types of audiences there. One are the people who are living abroad for so many years, India छोड़कर जाते हैं. So when those people listen to us singing live, the songs they have grown up to, I think they feel like it's a beautiful homecoming and they enjoy that nostalgia feeling. For the artists who are listening us for the first time, like the people who are not speaking Hindi, but they still vibe to the songs because of the maybe emotional touch, or sometimes it's the melody that has touched their hearts. And that time I see the sparkle in their eyes when they listen to Hindi music for the first time. And I think music is the only language which crosses borders very easily, as ma'am said. No visa, no passport required, and we can see the love in the eyes of people. So I think that's the most beautiful feeling. If I talk about everybody sitting here, what these guys can do to promote Indian artists and Indian music and make it soft power, I think we'll start with Spotify. Spotify is already doing so well, and especially I see the focus now shifting from Bollywood music to non-film music and making artist first music, and the editorial playlists are doing such a great job. I think well curated editorial playlists helps upcoming artists so much. Their music is reaching a much wider audience, and that is the best. You guys are already doing it, so thank you so much for that. And this is the only change where even I am like now inclined towards non-film music, because I am a product of Bollywood music. I always wanted to be a Bollywood playback singer, but now I feel the need of change, and I have started putting out my own music. So thank you Spotify for always helping us by giving us amazing playlisting and billboards like at Times Square, the featuring there, because when people in New York see your face at the Times Square billboard, and then they get intrigued to listen to the song, to know the culture, to know the language, so that is really helpful. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And ma'am, I think government can really help us with giving us some grants to promote Indian music and making Indian artists available at global festivals and headlining festivals. Make something possible that we should be able to go and headline global markets and global fests. That will be a great help, and you are the perfect person to do that.
So you might have heard that government has been sending troops of folk musicians abroad to perform since around 4 to 5 years, and also classical musicians are going abroad. So I think so this is the core, this is our mitti. So they are taking our mitti all across, and for I think so they would further have more actions coming in.
Even I actually performed for Harvest Songs of India yesterday at Waves, and it got so much love. I was singing my Punjabi language folk songs, and there were Marathi, Tamil and Bengali, so we got a lot of love. So this is one of the idea which really touched myself, touched my heart, and I really enjoyed performing, and I really saw the ministry and everybody enjoying the songs. So that was really nice. And if we can go out and perform our own culture and our own songs, that is amazing to know. And yes, labels, I think labels are giving very very great push by letting us release our regional songs, our music. And one thing is like labels can help us with strategically, globally planned collaborations with amazing artists, so we have a wider audience. I think a lot of feedback is already shared, so sorry.
Awesome, thank you. Raf, coming to you, you have seen India so closely for so many years because of your active participation in All About Music. I'd love for you to tell me how, if India was to create a truly immersive music experience for the world, what would it look like? What should it feel like? What should the story be behind it? You've studied the market well enough. You've interacted with stakeholders across the board. I'd love your inputs about that.
Well, first of all, let me say, I love India. And I love Indian music, but let me tell you why. We do something each year, it's now the 9th year, August 20th to 22nd, is all about music. An incredible, incredible annual event that attracts a lot of people from all over the world to come and see what is looking and what is cooking in India, and particularly in Mumbai and Maharashtra. So the thing is this, let me just point out something. Coldplay played 5 sold-out concerts just a few weeks ago. Ed Sheeran, the same kind of thing. They are enormous soft power ambassadors for British music. How many of you, when I say to you Gangnam Style, immediately start dancing like that? Only those 4 of you? 5 of you? Well, of course, that was only in Korean, the first ever Korean song to be #1 on the Billboard charts in the United States. But when I think of people like Arijit Singh, or last week at the Coachella Festival in California, Hanuman Kind, an incredible, you know his stuff. Original thinker, original performer, really, really great. He did fantastically well at Coachella, and he was someone who last year was at All About Music, and now he's really on the world stage, really starting to emerge big. The whole notion of soft power and the way that music, if done well, can really change things. I've seen Arijit Singh selling out concerts in Canada, all over America. Dosanjh, another one, a Punjabi act, doing very, very well in that form. And I was just thinking about some of the music here today. How many of you know a song called Jol by Manu? Only one person. How about Rani Jan from the movie Dopati from Sachet Parampara? Anybody know that? How about Pal Pal by A Fusic? So the reason I'm mentioning these songs are all big hits this month here in India, and people internationally are wanting to hear them because Indian talent and Indian artists are starting to spread. And when I saw last night Shankar Mahadevan, boy, and his band, I had an eargasm. It was so great. They were just incredible. It's true. You can have that. Not wrong to have that. But just generally, the quality of the artists and the artistry and the recordings here in India is something that is making a lot of ground all over the world, and all it requires is to continue to stimulate Indian music, Indian songwriting, and to create opportunities for Indian artists. When I see that many more artists from all over the world are wanting to make a beeline to India because they know they have to be in India to really consolidate their global following, it also makes me think that when I see Indian talent here, like we did at All About Music, and we are actually constructing the program at the moment for All About Music in a couple of months' time, and it's always interesting to see the interest in wanting to be on the program, professionals, managers, want the artists to be on it. But I have to say, I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 years there's been a massive change where a lot of Indian artists are now doing something really unusual. Tell me what you think about this. There are a couple of important Indian artists that recognize, yes, they might record in Hindi, yes, they might record in Tamil, they might record doing Punjabi style of their music, but they might also think of doing something in Spanish. Because if you as an Indian artist recorded a Spanish version of one of your songs, that song might appeal to 1 billion people who speak Spanish. And this is all part of thinking of how you can spread Indian entertainment and Indian music in particular somewhere around the world. So I don't know how many of you here in the audience are actually professional musicians, playing in bands, writing songs, producing music, but if you think of people like A.R. Rahman, or you think of people like, Arijit Singh obviously is such a great example because he is so self-oriented, he just, all the work that he does, he touches gold with just a natural style. India is really right on the cusp of an incredible new golden era for music. When I think of, when we mentioned Ed Sheeran and Coldplay, and the importance of that music around the world, and what that does for British soft power and music go hand in hand. People couldn't believe that this was the case with J-pop, K-pop, and we should have I-pop, or what I think of as M-pop, Mumbai pop, Maharashtra pop. That's what I want. So, these are really, it's at such an important time and an important age, and I think that what you're doing in terms of continuing to promote the importance of musical art and culture and the impact that it has on young people, it gives them hope, it gives them optimism, it gives them a way that they can say, if I could come up with a really interesting song, this is something that could change people's lives, change communities' lives. This is why we're in a really wonderful position here at the moment. I was at a concert last night. It was the Spotify promoted event last night here at Waves. Oh my God. I couldn't believe how incredible it was. The dancing of the choreography of the dancing sequence and some of the artists. Boy, this was incredible. The production values, this was just, and Waves, what Waves has done to really again reinforce the importance of Indian music, of Maharashtra and its impetus behind promoting music. When I said I had a multiple eargasm, let me tell you, that is true.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ralph. And everyone's spoken about iPop, and it would be a disservice if we don't. I know we're up at time, but if we could very quickly understand from Amarjeet what the blueprint for iPop is from Spotify's lens. What can we do to elevate that further? What can all of us do to make this entire movement truly global? Ma'am spoke so much about K-pop and how that really transformed the way we look at Korea. How can we work together with Spotify and everyone else to build out the iPop movement?
Thanks. After hearing a lot of Spotify from all of you, I think I felt I was not needed. You know more about Spotify than probably me in many things. But thank you so much for all the love that you're giving to the brand, and I was appreciating the good work the team has been doing over the last 6 years. I think on iPop piece, I think I feel that you have to first unite the brand. Because I'll give you an example. Long time back, there used to be this thing, Indian tea. I mean, we all know Indian tea is the best. But what happened is that the Indian tea, as it got exported from different people, different quality came out. Nobody united that. But whereas from Colombo, the Sri Lankan tea board were able to manage a brand under, the Sri Lankan Ceylon tea. And you start seeing around the world that people started appreciating that tea better. The quality of the tea is good, it's not bad. But our tea was always good, better in many ways. But you have to bring everything under some kind of umbrella. Probably iPop is that umbrella. But India is too big to have only iPop. I'll be very frank with you, India is just too big to have only iPop as one thing, because there's so many things that then you will ignore. So it's like the same way I said, there are many waves that you have to create in India. India is not one country. India has many small, amazing countries within that. So you have to create many such waves out there. What we are trying to do right now is to see if we can first create one big wave, which is the iPop. And if we can get everybody who sings great, puts great music, which is beyond films, and we put that under this, which becomes popular. Now, whether it is a Hindi song, whether it's a Punjabi song, whether it's a hip hop song, it doesn't matter. If that kind of comes into a popular culture, it should be iPop. So if you look at our iPop playlist, we have created a bunch of playlists there, but the major one is called iPop Icons. So, under this we believe that this is a flagship playlist of the best of people represented. And what I want, I think to the point that we said earlier, if you look at the way playlist gets refreshed, I think just to give everybody a little bit of context, we create different types of playlists. We create playlists from our own editorial teams, but Spotify is a great personalized algorithmic machine learning tool, where people is recommended based on your taste. So Spotify recommends you daily mixes. It recommends you Discover Weeklies. It has great features like Daylist, which has 6 playlists in 24 hours. So you will get to hear your own type of playlist. You will discover music out there, and you can keep liking them, and you can kind of make your own playlists out there. So that's another way to kind of build that. But we believe that there are many such genres out there. For example, for our Punjabi flagship playlist, we have Punjabi 101. Every Punjabi artist who's top and singing, wants to be on that playlist, and they know that this is a playlist for that. We have hip hop playlist called Rap 91. Rap 91 is 91 is the India number, so Rap 91 is a global playlist for India for this. So if you find on that playlist, you'll see hip hop songs, not only from all over the country featured in that. Probably that is the only playlist in this country which has different language songs coming in one playlist. And then we have other such things. We have Telugu playlist. So we have this. I think you mentioned about Maharashtra pop. We have Telugu, Tamil pop, and so on and so on. We're trying to create that also. But in the end, I think we want to make sure that one thing goes out in a big way. What the government can do is, we have a lot of good creator roundtables. We started talking to the government, along with the artists, along with other stakeholders, and I think this requires united effort. Because if you don't make a united effort, this thing will not move in a big way. And I believe we've just been 6 years in India, but in the last 12 months, I've seen government, really, really wanting to contribute and shape this journey. I think this Waves is a great example. Who would have thought that suddenly this is like coming out as the biggest event, which is for us in the media entertainment space. It gives a boost to so many people who are wanting to be in this space. So thanks to the government for really doing this. And from artist perspective, I think we are all ready. The question is, can we create situation? For example, the government, can government create venues for artists to perform? Let's say I'm a young artist, and I'm not young, but let's say I'm a young artist, and I have to perform somewhere in Maharashtra, let's say. Can I have venues to come and perform? How do people know me? Yes, Spotify can distribute you, but you also need to have places on the ground where people can perform. So there's ideas like, how about, like historical places, we have small venues there, people can come and perform. Because music needs to be felt. I'll give you a great example here. We did 2 sessions in Waves. One was on classical music, panel discussion, and one was on folk music. I didn't attend many of the sessions, but I attended those 2. And I was completely blown away. And I had goosebumps all over, completely, that how much is the depth of folk music and classical music in this country. Now, people say it's a dying art. No, it is not dying art. You heard them say that, they're still thriving. The difference is that as Indians, as everywhere else, people are chasing the larger piece out there. But the foundation of a musician is folk. Foundation of a music is learning classical music. So I think in schools, in colleges, we should promote people to follow profession of becoming an artist, learn music, because this is a country which is really big. And once people know that they can be successful, as you've seen with the Indian startup ecosystem, 20 years back, how many people thought they can become great entrepreneurs? Today we have such amazing role models. Everybody says, I want to become an entrepreneur. So tomorrow, many of the people will say, oh, there's so many amazing stars, role models for me, I want to be like them. And once that flywheel starts, then I think nothing stops India. And I think all we are doing is that we want to be one of the capitalists in that flywheel, and we want to work with the artists, we want to work with the labels, we want to work with the government, and we want to work with the listeners to tell us how we can get better. And if that flywheel kicks in, I think iPop will not even become a huge force in India, but around the world. And the way we talk about K-pop today, I think hopefully in 10 years from now, iPop will be the biggest force in the world.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Arman. Thank you everyone for attending this. This has been incredible. Thank you, Waves. Thank you, Government of Maharashtra, for putting all of this together. This has been an absolutely amazing experience for all of us from the industry as well. And Amar, you brought up a lot of things in terms of what the government can do. I attended the keynote address by the Honorable Prime Minister as well as the Honorable Chief Minister. They spoke about setting up the IICT, the Indian Institute of Cultural Technology. They spoke about upskilling everyone who wants to work in media and entertainment. They spoke about building that talent pool, building the creator pool, and making sizable investments towards it. The government of Maharashtra has already set out land to build that out on their own. Venues for infrastructure already being signed. This was done in Davos as well between Book My Show and the government of Maharashtra. There's multiple things at play. It almost feels like everyone is here at the party. Everyone wants this to be the greatest party of all time. And I feel like everyone's energy is aligned right where it needs to be.
Thank you so much. I would just like to add one thing. We all spoke about expectations from labels, from platforms, from government. But let's, as people, as listeners, also have one responsibility of listening good music, promoting good music at concerts. How can we do that? आपको तानसेन तो सामने दिखेंगे, आपको कानसेन होना पड़ेगा. How can you become कानसेन? By learning music. Whether you understand music much or not, you can learn any form of music, instrument or vocals, and you'll be another level listeners, and you'll then promote the right music. Thank you.
May I just say, Madame, you made such an incredibly important point. One of the reasons that Sweden, small little Sweden in Scandinavia, is one of the top exporting countries of music in the world, Spotify, home country that created it, is because every single high school student at a Swedish school all across Sweden has to learn a musical instrument. And that has stimulated a whole interest in music, songwriting, production, and in doing so has transformed Sweden into being a music exporting country of great export.
And with that note, we extend a sincere thank you to all the panelists present here. I now request all the panelists and speakers to please stand up for a quick photo opportunity. Can we have a huge round of applause for this beautiful session that talked about how music can amplify India's global identity from sound